SQL, it is the most basic skill that a data analyst or a business analyst or product analyst should have. While preparing for these kind of interviews, we do one very common mistake. We prepare very basic questions, and when we go into the interviewer asks us a complex question that involves complex CTEs, complex joins, complex window functions, and we are stuck. So, to solve this problem, I have brought a full free YouTube course where I'll be solving 30 most advanced SQL questions for you guys. I'll be explaining the approach, I'll be writing the code and everything. So, hi friends, my name is Harsh and welcome to my YouTube channel. So, we'll be starting this series and this is the day 1 of our series. There is one prerequisite for this course that you should be knowing basics of the SQL and you should have some knowledge of writing basic queries, basic joins and basic window functions. So this course is strictly not for the beginners and I am targeting those guys who are targeting the senior business analyst or lead business analyst kind of roles in the interviews. So let's start with the first question. So in this question, you have to calculate the total time spent on the app. So before reading all these things, I will give you the structure of the app, how it is. So suppose there is an app where user can log in and log out, then log in and log out. Basically to track the login times of an employees. Okay. So this is a company who tracks the login time and logout time of the employees. So basically, a user can log in multiple times a day or even one time log in and log out. So the main task is that this app or this company wants to identify how much time the user is logged onto their uh, portal or their app. So there is one table where they store all the events of the user, that is called user events. It has 3 columns. The columns are user ID, created at and status. User ID is a string, created at is a timestamp and status can have 2 values 0 and 1. So if status equal to 1, that means that it is the login flag and the created at timestamp corresponding created at timestamp is the timestamp when the user logged in. And if the status flag is 0, then the corresponding created at timestamp is the time when the user logged out. So in the output you have to do date, user ID and the time spent on the app. So again I'll explain this to you in detail. But before that, let's understand the edge cases which is given first. Let's study that also. A user that logs in will log out the same day. This is the first condition. Like it's not that key, it's being traced over the next day. The second is that user cannot log out without logging in. This is the second edge case that will help us solving this question. And user can log in multiple times a day. This is given the question. User can log in multiple times a day. So we have to consider all the 3 facts. So how these facts will be useful? Like we can always partition on date to get the session time. Like there is no issue with the session rolling over to the next day. The user cannot log out without logging in. This means that 1 should always be there before any 0 event. User can log in multiple times a day. So it is safe to assume that for every user on any given date, the login and logout pattern would look like this. Login, logout, login, logout, login, logout. Or if it is one time, it's like 1 0 login and logout. So its pattern would be like 1 0 1 0 and the corresponding timestamps would be the timestamp of logging in and logging out. So that's it. So I'll give you how the input data looks like. So I have created this data, a short sample data. So you can see for this user, if I select this user came online 2 days, on 22nd and on 23rd. On 22nd it logged in at 11 am, logged out at 12, then again logged in at 15, then logged out at 18th hour, then again logged in the night at 21 and logged out at 22. Then the user came again on this day, 23rd, logged in at 11 and logged out at 16. So for this user, so 1 hour here, 3 hour here and 1 hour here. So 5 hour is the time spent on 22nd. So for this user, 5 hours is the total time spent, date, user ID and time spent. For the same user, U1 on 23, he spent 11 to 16. So basically 5 hours next day again. Similarly for user 2, he spent 2 hours here, 2 hours here, 3 hours here and 3 hours here. To 8 hours. 2 plus 3 plus 3. And here it is 6 hours for user 3 on 22nd. So this is the output that is required. If there are any calculation mistake, then just forgive me. Just try to understand what is expected in the question. Now I'll do some calculations in this Excel sheet and will show you how we are going to proceed. So the thing is, what we have to do, we have to find out the time gap of this, we have to find the time gap of this, we have to find the time gap of this, but these are in the different rows. So before proceeding from here, this was the hint. I would like you to pause the video, or if you did not understand the question, reiterate through the video and just try to solve this question by your own, write the entire SQL query by your own, and then come to this solution part, which I am going to start now. So the hint, I said, we have to just bring these two rows together. We have to just bring these two rows together. For everyone, I have to bring the corresponding 0. For everyone, I have to bring the corresponding 0. So for this one, the corresponding 0 is this. For this one, the corresponding 0 is this. It should be the same date and same user. So basically, if I do a partition by user ID, just user ID, not even date. So due to that flexibility in the question that it is logging out the same day, we can partition by user ID. Now see what we'll do. We'll just make a new column that is called next created at. We have to group somehow these two columns, created at and its logout time. So basically, if I have to solve this question, what I'll do, I'll like a table. I want to create a table like this, where user ID, login time and corresponding logout time. If I store this, I'll subtract these two columns and I can get session duration. Session duration will be my logout time minus login time. And then what I'll do, so these two will be the same dates, because same day user is logging out the day when he is logging in. So I'll pick the date column from either of these two rows, date of login time, and these two columns, either of these two columns. I'll do a user ID and I'll aggregate the data on this and do a sum of this session duration. So the main task is how to figure out this login time corresponding to logout time corresponding to every login time. So for this, I'm just doing a lead. I'll use the lead window function, and what I'll do, I'll partition on user ID and I'll just do the next. So if I do like this, I'll get this, and this value would be null, right? Because no value is next to this. Again, if I do this, I'll get this. For this user, I'm partitioning my user ID and this value would be null. And for this user, this would be the value and this value would be null. So what I have got now is the next created at, and this we can do just by doing lead of created at partition by user ID. So this is my logout time, you can see, and this was my timestamp. And if I choose only, filter out only those points where the status is 1, then those points are my login time. Login time, if I filter status equal to 1. So that's it. we got the login time, we got the user ID, and we got the logout time, and we'll filter status equal to 1, then we'll get only login times here. And now what I'll do, I'll just create a new column called session difference and just take the difference of these columns where the status is 1. For example, difference of this. Again, I won't take difference of this because this was not the login event, it was logout event. So I will be considering only login events. I have to take this difference. Correct. Again, I'll skip this difference and I'll get this difference. So it is as easy as that. So if you did not understand the approach, I would again request you to iterate through the video and try to understand this. This is a medium level question, not a difficult level question. This question has two parts. The second part would be more difficult. So this is just the base for that second part. Again, this is not beginner friendly question. So if you don't have good grasp of lead, lag and the basic logics, I request you to solve some basic questions over HackerRank and then solve these kind of advanced questions. Now next, coming to the coding part. So I'll use this. I'll start with a new CT where I'll store login and logout times. So for this, what I have to do, I will do like this: select, then user ID, then created at, then status. All the rows would be there. You can see all these rows are there. Just I have to add one new row, that is the next created at. So I'll add that. Lead, I guess lead would be there, right, or lag. So I'm just doing one ahead. So it is lead. So lead what? Created at, over what is the partition? The spelling is wrong. Partition by user ID and order by to created at has next created at from user underscore events. Just this. Now I got this for all the rows. Now what I have to do, I'll do the login and logout details. So I'll rename this as details as. What I have to do, I have to select, not even need to make a new CT, but okay, for simplicity, for better understanding, I'll make it a CT. Select date of created at. Okay, I won't skip any step, but this is a little complex question, so I want to take it step by step. The ID, this created at would be your login time, and this created at would be your logout time, and timestamp if you can use. Somewhere date diff also use. So if I need the differences in hour, next created at and created at as session length, from login logout, and there is one filter I have to do where I will be checking only, since I am making created at login time, so I have to take only those rows where the status is equal to 1. So for every login time I got the logout time and also calculated the session length simultaneously. I could have skipped this CT, but for better understanding I am using CTs. So now what I have to do, I have to just do a select. I'll take the date of login time as date, user ID, and sum of session length as total time spent, from details, group by 1, 2, order by 1, 2. So this is a very simple code, very simple logic to solve the first part of this question. Now we'll come to the second part of this question, and it is a little bit complex also to make you understand. So part 2. So in the part 1, it was that whenever you is logging in, it is getting 1. Whenever user is getting logged out, it's getting 0. And the pattern would be 1, 0, 1, 0 like this. But now due to some logging issue, data logging issue, due to some data logging issue, what had happened is that duplicate values are being created. Like a user, suppose Harsh, logs in at 11:10 am, logs out at 12 pm, it will be like 0. Again logs in at 3 pm, logs out at 5 pm. So the entry should be like 1010 and corresponding time would be 10. So I'll write it better. So corresponding how it should look like in table 1010 and corresponding time would be 10 corresponding to this one. For this 12 pm I'm counting on over the hours. So 15th hour and 17th hour. But what had happened, because in this duration the user was online, in this duration the user was offline, in this duration user was online, in this duration user was offline. Okay, so what has happened, ki random entries of 1 are being created like this. Again the random entry got created around suppose 14th hour. Here suppose no random entry was created. Here again suppose ki 2 random entries were created, one was at 20th hour and one was at 21st hour. So the data, instead of looking like 1010, it started to look like 11001000 like this. So again, don't get confused, I'll make you understand it better. So what had happened, this one is to the real one when the user logged out. This one is the real 0 where the user logged out. This one is the real one where the user logged in, and this 0 is the real 0 where the user logged out. But these values are duplicate ones or due to data logging issue. So what you have to do, you have to remove these values and then you will have to solve like this. When the format is like 1010, then you will get the exact time spent on the app. So in the second part also you have to give the same output like date, user ID and total time spent on app. So in this question, what you can do, like there will be the duplication like 11001000 like this. So you have to take care for these ones. So I have a sample data here in my Excel. I'll show you that data also to understand, to make you understand better. So suppose we look for this user, you see. So this user was online on 1st and 2nd of Jan and the entries are created like this. So suppose the user logged in at 1. So this one is the correct one. Again entry showed ki user is logged in at 9:02. So this one is not the real actual login time. This is the actual logout time. So this value is there. So again user was logged out at 10:01. Again user logged in at 11. So this is the correct. Again user logged out at 11:45. Logged in at 8:30. Logged out at 9:15 and duplicate entry was created at 9:16. So we have to ignore this. Again user logged in at 18th hour and logged out at 19th hour. So these were the correct entries and for this user 3 duplicate entries were created. So now you have to take care, similar will happen for other users also. Now you have to take care that how you consider, you have to generate the exact same output like date, user ID and time spent. So for this, so date would be first chain, suppose the user ID 1, and on the second chain also user ID 1. So on first chain, here logged in at 9, logged out at 10. 1 hour, 45 minutes, and so 1 hours and 45 minutes on first. So 1.75 hour. Time spent in hours, suppose you have to calculate. On second gen, 8:13 to 9:15, so 45 minutes and 1 hour. So this day also the user spent the same time. So output would be like this. Now you have to figure out how will you overcome this duplicates. So lead and lag won't work directly. If you do the lead just like previous, this will come here. So you have to first eliminate these duplicate rows. So to eliminate the duplicate rows, how will you do? You have to check for the next status. If next status is same, then that is a duplicate row, isn't it? If next status is same as the previous one, then it is a duplicate row. So what I will do, let's try to see which works. Like I am thinking of either using lead or lag. So if I do a suppose lead here, how will it look like? To look like this. Again, I am using the same partition by user ID. This too you keep in mind. I am partitioning the table by user ID. So lead would look like this and lag would look like. So this value would be null. Here this value would be null. And it would look like this. So if I see this is matching value. This is not a matching value, this is a matching value, this is not a matching value, but I have to consider this row. So lead would fail. Even if I take the matching values, then I will consider this row and eliminate this row. Even I take the non-matching value, I will eliminate this row, but I will consider this row. So lead would fail. Lag, we can see if I do non-matching value, this I will consider non-matching value, non-matching value, non-matching value, non-matching value, non-matching value, non-matching value, and non-matching value. So basically lead won't work. You have to do the lag. You have to check the previous event. Instead of the next event, you have to see the previous event. What is the previous event? So while I was explaining this question, I told you should see the next status to figure out that is the correct or not. But in actually next status won't work. See, next status won't work because you have the same duplication in the next status, but you have to consider that one. Like I deleted this one, I'll do the control Z. So see here, if you do like this, suppose you consider 1 0 and this is 0 1. Sorry, where was that row which was being eliminated? So this is the same row and this is a different row. So see, why this? This is the same, then you have to consider it. But it does not depend on this one. You have to consider if this will consider or not, will not depend on this. It will depend what is previous of this. So that's why you cannot use lead. So you will have to use lag. I will repeat again if there is some confusion. So you have to consider this, you have to consider this, you have to consider this or not. Will not depend on the next one event, but it will depend on your previous event. Suppose this 0, if the previous one is different, then consider it. Suppose if this one, if the previous one is different, then consider it. But if you do like this, if the next one is same, then I would consider this, I won't consider this. You would go like, you would make approach like this. If the next one is same, then I won't consider this, then it would be wrong because you will be eliminating this row. So for this reason, you have to use the lag. If still not clear, I just want you to rewind 2-3 minutes. I have explained it. If you hear twice or thrice, you will be able to understand better why not to use lead. This is a little complex question, so you have to spend time solving these questions. It's not like you will understand everything in one go. So that is always there. So these are advanced level questions. So now coming to here. So now what we'll do, we have got the lag and we know where the correct status are, where the status and lag status does not match. So first what I'll do, I'll filter by partitioning the user ID where status and null status won't match. Again, after filtering, what will happen? It will be like similar, previous to similar one. So after filtering, I'll get the values like this. 1. So what I'll do, I'll check if this value is equal to this value or not. So wherever I get the false, see this one, 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 and this one. So I'll keep those rows and delete other rows. So what will happen? See the pattern 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0. Then again it boils down to the previous question. So what is happening here? Here we have to use the lag status first, then we'll have to do the lag of created at. So this is little trickier in this sense. So let's come to the coding part of this. So what I'll do, so you know what we have to do, we have to just first remove the duplicates. So with duplicate remove as, like this, select what columns are there, user ID, just select everything, don't select user ID, created at, a status was there, and what we will have to do, we will have to lag the status over partitioning by user ID. Again ordering would be the sending of created at as previous status from user events. So for every user we will get the previous status. Now the next status would be considered or not will depend on the previous status. So now we have to filter. So basically I will use a subquery here. So this we got all the previous status. Let's see if this works. Yes, this works. So what we'll have to do? We'll have to do a select user ID created at and status. Just these three columns. This was just to help. From no need to select this again. From this table where status is not equal to previous status or previous status is null. These two conditions were there. The status not equal to previous status and the previous status is null, or lag status you can say. This is your previous status. Previous status is null. So I remove the duplicates. Now again it's the same code as above with login, logout as what we'll do? We'll do the select user ID created as login time and do a lead of created as next login time also I need to filter status. You need to filter status here because I'll put it out there. So I got the next login time and the logout time. Let's keep the status also just to make the code block similar to before. From where duplicates removed, and what we'll have to do, we have to directly next login time. Now we'll have to just do the select date of login time as dt user id and do the sum of and write it here. I just skipped the next city here. So I explained in the previous part, so I'm skipping the next city here, just directly selecting. I could have skipped this city also, but don't want to be very unreadable code, just want to make it readable. So sum of timestamp diff of our to the next login time, that is actually the logout time. I can select it as logout time basically. Not always, it will be logout time. Where the status equal to 1, that there will be the logout time. So I'll filter this here. So from login logout where status equal to 1. Only those I will be doing the sum. So R logout time, login time, I am doing a sum for this as total time spent from login logout where status equal to 1. Again need to group by 1, 2 and order by 1, 2. So this is the exact code. This is the exact working code for this question. So I hope this question actually involved not joins but the Windows function. So both lead and lag. So this was the first question where I wanted to start with the complexity that can be generated by just these two window function, lead and lag. So after solving this question, you should be able to think of any other logic by using lead and lag. So you can see how we remove just the duplicates, just not directly doing the lead of creator. First I did the lag of status. So there are many similar questions like this, like to calculate the max running streak. Like for example, suppose there is a user who orders every day. Suppose the order date is 1 and the day he does not order, it's like 0001. So you have to get the longest streak where the user has ordered. For example, suppose this is first. I'm giving you one question as a homework also. Just try to do this and post the answers in comment. I'll also reply to the comments, and if there are the correct answers, I'll pin them and I'll also answer from my side. So suppose this is the date of January. So 1st Jan, 2nd Jan, 17th Jan. And this is user ordered flag. User ordered or not. This is the user ordered flag. Sorry. So now what you have to see where the user ordered and the user did not order. Like these were the days where user ordered and these were the days where user did not order. So you have to find the max streak length or the max streak for that user where the user ordered. So here the streak was for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Here the streak was for 6 days. So what you have to return? You have to return two things. The first and the last date of the streak. So basically if you return this, the first and last date of streak, you will be able to calculate the second part, the length of streak. And the first and last date of length of streak in days actually. You will get in the days because this is the date level data. So this is the homework task for this video, and I hope you learned something new from this video, and you will be also coming to watch the other videos also. Do check out for the other contents on this channel. It is a very new YouTube channel and it deserves lots of support from you guys. Thank you very much.